It's never too late to build or rebuild your credit. This segment is sponsored by JP Morgan Chase & Company.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZQL.
ZQL, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZQL nights. Explore our products at ZQL.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Did you know that feeling sluggish or weighed down could be a sign that your digestive system isn't working at its best? Taking Metamucil every day can help. Metamucil fiber powders help promote your daily digestive health using a plant-based fiber called psyllium. The gelling action of this special fiber traps and removes waste, so you can feel lighter and more energetic. Metamucil, promoting digestive health for a better you. Learn more at Metamucil.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. With eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusive.
One-on-one with Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. She is a freshman Democrat from Dallas, Texas. So make sure you stick around for my interview with Congresswoman Crockett. All right, Carlos, let's talk about this response from Katie Boyd Britt. She is a GOP senator. She's supposed to be a rising star in the party. She's a senator from Alabama. She's sitting in her kitchen, which offended so many women, both Republicans, Democrats, Independents, pretty much everyone thought that was a dumb idea. She was talking in this kind of get out, kind of, Donald Trump dystopian, the world is about to end voice. I mean, everything about it was just, the performative nature of it was horrible. But then you get to the actual story that she told about this, horrific story of a woman who was sex trafficked when she was 12 years old, which happens to be a true story. But as we now know, the woman was not raped every day while in the United States. This was all happening in Mexico. And it happened a decade ago or so before Joe Biden was even the president. Yet it was presented as if this was a new situation that had just occurred during Joe Biden's time as president. And I read a couple of articles, one where the woman seemingly acknowledged that she was misleading and gaslighting the public. And then I saw a Fox interview where she doubled down and said, basically the story's true and I'm sticking to my story. So she's been kind of all over the place with respect to how to respond. I don't know if she thought people wouldn't fact check her, but I don't think she was ready for the criticism and the backlash that she has faced. But talk to me about your impressions of Katie Boyd Britt.
Well, it's in this political climate, when someone is able to offend everybody is in the same. That lets you know you are so wrong. You are so beyond the pale. Like when you have your party who does not criticize you, Donald Trump, for anything, the malicious, when they are criticizing you for stupidity, like you have done something. But having said that, Areva, it just really shows our political culture where Joe Biden gave a really impassioned plea for what we need to do in our politics. And what the response was completely to ignore that and to talk to us about something years before, only to inflame people. That was the only thing. To inflame people. We ain't going to respond to anything you said, take anything that you said seriously, But what we're going to do is inflame people with the conspiracy theory to tie you to. That is their politics laid bare for the American public. I wish we would just call it what it is, but we won't. It's about this person and their decisions. No, this is what the Republican Party is. This is how they operate. Do not make it about her. That's the wrong thing.
No, absolutely. She was over rehearsed. She was over everything, Rashad. And she did what Donald Trump does at these rallies. I reported out at the beginning of the show. Donald Trump has these rallies where he just rambles on for 60, 90, 120 minutes, and he just spews the most, untrue, salacious statements, one after the other. And now, folks are catching on to the fact that he's trying to point to Joe Biden being old, but they have him on tape slurring his words, misusing words left and right, misidentifying world leaders, and just saying some outrageous things, including all of his attacks. Can I see my blacks? I see my blacks. All the offensive racist things that he says. And he gave Katie a thumbs up. He tweeted on social, his platform, that she did a fantastic job. And so some folks says, hey, she got the stamp of approval from the one person in the party that mattered, and she was literally speaking his language, which is telling lies to the American people.
This is the world we live in. And this is what the people want. The people don't want truth. They want to be distracted. Because if Joe Biden makes sense, that means I'm wrong, or I've subscribed to wrong. And so, you know what? I don't want to be wrong today. So I know that this is crazy, and I'm not gonna, because, well, who's the fact checker? The fact checker works for Biden. So I'm gonna believe this, even though I know it's wrong, I know it's a lie. I'm just gonna believe this. That's the world we're in. People are choosing to believe wrong. They're choosing to subscribe to wrong and follow wrong, and they will make up any scenario in their heads to justify them following wrong. I don't get it. I don't understand how you can hear the truth, see the truth, and then call the truth a lie. But that's the world we live in right now.
Well, it's interesting because Trump has invited this dictator to Mar-a-Lago, and this dictator has a playbook for how to become a dictator. Professor Hill, you're a historian, and back in the day when you wanted to become a dictator, you used the military, and you would stage a military takeover of the government. You would use force, you would use violence. The new playbook is the opposite. The new playbook is doing just what we're talking about: lie, distort, deflect, create this scenario where facts don't matter, where there's something called alternative facts, and people can choose which facts that they're going to believe in. You can say the sky is green, even though the sky is gray. And there's a certain number of people who are just going to believe that it's green because somebody, i.e. the dictator, said it's green. And then you get in office and you destroy everything from your Justice Department to all the other institutions. And that is the way you become a dictator. You no longer have to use the military. You just come in and you create a scenario where you get enough people believing your mistruths, your misstatements of the facts, your rewriting, your your revisionism of history. That seems like what we're doing and what some people in this country are prepared to allow Donald Trump to do.
Areva, I want to just say, because we're on this radio program, what community has the most reason to mistrust the government, to doubt the government? It's Black people. Yes. But we're not. And so at the same time, we're calling out grave concerns with someone who is running for elected office, but at the same time sowing the most seeds of doubt about the very government that they are running for. That is Donald Trump, right? And so he is sowing the seeds of doubt, creating doubt in the election, in the government, all the institutions that he supposedly wants to lead, to become what? Maybe the dictator, right? Or someone who is so beyond the pale of accountability that he can be virtually a dictator because no one's going to hold him accountable. And so that is the reality of where we are. Because we won't hold him accountable, he will be a virtual dictator. And so that is the scary existential reality of America. And that's why I say that's why Joe Biden has to meet him emotionally, because for all the voters on the fence, if he's not matching him, they think that he's the leader. Look at how he presents himself. And so this is so important for us to get right. We can't get this wrong.
It's so interesting that you say that. And I said this dictator was planning to visit. The dictator's already visited Mar-a-Lago. It's Viktor Orban. He is the prime minister of Hungary. And he wasn't invited to the White House by Joe Biden. He was invited to Mar-a-Lago, and he went to Mar-a-Lago, and he has written this playbook that Donald Trump is following on how to become a dictator. And again, it's not by using your military or force. And you raise a good point, Carlos. It's Black folks who historically have been skeptical of the government, skeptical of the Department of Justice, skeptical of the CIA and all of these agencies.
For good reason.
Good reason, right? But now we are having to defend the government, right? The white folks who were in control and used the government against us in so many instances have now become the ones who are doubting the Department of Justice. Donald Trump has created not just this conspiracy about a deep state, but have convinced folks there really is a deep state, and he's the only one that can weed it out. I mean, things are really upside down when you think about it. When folks like us on KBLA, Black on Radio, streaming site, are defending the government because white folks like this GOP Senator Katie Boyd Britt is gaslighting us into believing that Joe Biden's immigration policies has something to do with something that happened 12 years ago, not even on U.S. soil. And she refuses to correct her lies when she said it, she knew it was a lie. So there really wouldn't be a need to correct it if she had checked herself before she even did it. But we're in this world right now where she's a part of the playbook on how to make Donald Trump a dictator. Whew, a lot to think about. When we come forward, I want to talk about how the big pharma is fighting Joe Biden, again, using the playbook from the student debt relief to prevent seniors from getting breaks on medication. Stay with us, KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to Areva Martin in real time on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey Californians, are you ready to make your home ownership dreams come true? The California Dream for All Shared Appreciation Loan Program might be for you. First-generation homebuyers can get down payment and closing cost assistance along with a first mortgage to help you unlock the door of your new home. Applications open in April, so talk to an approved lender to see if you're eligible. Find out more at calhfa.ca.gov/dream or call 877-922-5432. A message from the California Housing Finance Agency.
Imagine with me here for a minute the most beautiful panoramic setting. Maybe it's an endless ocean, waves crashing on a beach, or a crystal clear mountain lake, peaceful and quiet. Or maybe it's just little kids playing in the park down the street. Wherever your imagination takes you, now imagine right smack in the middle of this perfect picture, a piece of litter. Just one piece right there in the middle of it all. Doesn't exactly fit, does it? In fact, even though it's just one piece, now it's all you can see. That one piece ruins everything. And that's the thing about litter. It doesn't take much to ruin everything. One thing's for sure, it simply does not belong anywhere in California. So here's the good news. If we work together, we will change it. We don't have to let litter, even just one piece, ruin your perfect picture. Not anymore, not ever again. Clean California, 0 litter is the goal. Brought to you by Caltrans and CleanCA.com.
Environmental justice is racial justice.
Environmental justice is social justice.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Single Moms Planet is a nonprofit organization dedicated to uplifting under-resourced single mom business owners and working mothers nationwide. Single Moms Planet offers comprehensive programs of financial literacy, business development, mentorship, and entrepreneurial training. They provide education, accountability, and hope. Single Moms Planet was founded by model, TV personality, and producer Nefertari Plessy. Nefertari felt firsthand the challenges that face single moms as she was raised by a working single mother. She learned that the most disadvantaged group in the United States are single mom families. According to the U.S. Census, 30% live under the poverty line. So she decided to do something about it, along with co-founder Cole Patterson. Their goal is to end the poverty cycle in single mother households through education, opportunity, and networking, providing family and child enrichment programs for under-resourced single-parent families. Single Moms Planet serves over 10,000 single moms and their children each year. Studies show that business development and financial literacy provide a positive environment for children and families, exposing them to new possibilities and opportunities. To attend one of their fun events, make a donation, or get more information, or if you need help as a single mom, please visit singlemomsplanet.org. That's singlemomsplanet.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
I want to go back to this whole Viktor Orban, Hungary's prime minister, visiting Mar-a-Lago. Not only did he visit Mar-a-Lago, which was highly unusual because when a head of state visits the U.S., typically it's at the invitation of the sitting president, not the former president. Typically, you're not going to the crib of the former president talking about anything that has to do with the United States. But, you know, this is Donald Trump. But this dictator also visited the Heritage Foundation, which we know is a conservative think tank in D.C. This guy we know is skeptical of sending weapons to Ukraine, is buddies with Vladimir Putin, is vehemently anti-immigrant, anti-immigration, hostile to what he calls woke culture and LGBT rights. He's a darling, Rashad, of many pro-Trump Republicans who see his government as a model of Christian nationalism. So this is the guy that pro-Trump Republicans say we should be patterning our country after because he is what they describe as a Christian nationalist. We need to be paying attention to this. I don't think people are talking about Trump and Biden as if we're choosing between two, 80-year-old white men. And I don't think they're paying close enough attention to Trump and what he is quietly and obviously not so quietly doing, because he posts pictures with this guy. And even Melania, of all people, who we have not seen at all, she's in these photos with this dictator and Trump. How do we get people to understand that Trump is dangerous in ways that I don't think people can even imagine?
So we're dealing with a populace who actually doesn't understand its own laws, right? People talk about freedom of religion and freedom of the press and all of the Bill of Rights, but the populace doesn't really understand those things. We have in God we trust on our currency, but America does not have an official religion, right? We've allowed white evangelicals to hold the electoral process hostage. But the reality is Christian nationalism is racism. There is nothing in the Bible that would justify the way that white people act in this country. And the last thing one of the last things that Paul did was tell the church folks to let their slaves go. And he said, I won't make you, but because these people are creatures of God, these are your brothers and your sisters. Do not treat them like this. So we can go back from Genesis all the way to the end of the Bible. Like, you can't choose what part of the Bible you want to use to justify your foolishness and your bad behavior. Christian national racism. That's all it is, period. And I, for one, I can't speak for the rest of the Black preachers in America, and it's a lot of them who got problems, and we can talk about that on another show. But I'm not going to let people use the Bible to justify their wrongdoings when it comes to treating people fairly. Psalm 82, we're supposed to defend the widow, take care of the fatherless, feed the hungry, clothe the naked. Like, I can go on and on and on about the things that we're supposed to be doing. But instead of doing what we should be doing, which is taking care of each other, we're trying to justify why people need to be in chains and using the Bible to do that. And that's not right. And they're going to find themselves in a good, burning hot lake of fire.
Well, I hope you're right about that, because if Donald Trump gets reelected, Carlos, Orban is his dude. That's going to be his, he's taking notes. He's already gotten the playbook, and Orban has said very clearly he doesn't think democracy works. I mean, he's not making any bones about the fact that, and he's been in office since 2010, so he's already been in office 14 years. We know Biden and others have said if Donald Trump gets elected, he may not leave. He literally may not leave in 28 when it's time for him to leave. And if he's dismantled our judiciary, if he's dismantled our other branches of government, how do we get him out?
And Areva, typically when candidates say things like that, that has disqualified them. That has made them a pariah. But for Donald Trump, he uses this, and I really believe this. He uses these moments to gain and get permission, right? When people don't, when he can say these things and he continues to rise in the poll, for him, that's permission that what I'm doing is okay. And I can validation. Yeah, it's validation. And so he's very smart in that he is showing people who he's going to be in office, gathering the permission so that when he actually does it, it is for him as my dear brother has said, validation. And so this is what is happening slowly across this election. He's saying all these things, and he's over time getting the confidence that this is how I can lead as president of the United States. And this is why, for me, this is an existential election, because I believe everything that he says he's going to do, he's going to try to do it.
Oh, yeah, make no doubts about it. I mean, I don't think we should assume he's joking or playing or kidding around. He is going to follow the playbook of these dictators who he praises. This Hungarian prime minister, in his own election victory speech, praised Donald Trump, endorsed him, said he wants him to win again. So he has these dictators, Prime Minister of Hungary, Vladimir Putin, all pulling for him. And we know they're not pulling for him because they want to see him uphold democracy as democracy exists today. We know that they have an interest in the U.S., being pulled out of NATO, and they being able to, take whatever countries like Ukraine that they choose to. It's something that, again, I think we need to make sure folks understand the depths of the harm and destruction that someone like Donald Trump can cause. And before we run out of time, I do want to talk about these pharmaceutical companies. Again, Joe Biden gets discredited for trying to relieve student loan debt because Republicans figure out, because we have a conservative court, we can tie everything up in court. And that's what they're doing with the pharmaceutical efforts on the part of Joe Biden to reduce the cost of insulin and other medication that so many of us in the Black community use. Our mothers, our grandmothers, our fathers, our uncles are using insulin and other drugs. And the pharma companies don't want the drug prices lower because they want to keep making this, mad profit. And they are trying to invalidate the programs that will reduce the price of medications for high blood pressure, heart disease, diabetes. And they're going to these conservative courts looking for the courts to undo it. And I'm fearful, Rashad, that again, folks will say, well, Biden didn't do anything about drug prices. So give me 30 seconds.
People see what's going on. I commend the Biden administration for tackling pharmaceutical prices, but people see what's going on, and I hope that while again, Black people and many other groups of people have their reasons for staying home, I hope that people will use this as a reason to get out to the polls.
We are out of time. Thank you so much. So much more to talk about. Definitely will have you good brothers back. Appreciate all your insights. Coming up in hour 2, we're going to be talking to Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. Make sure you stick around. KBLA Talk 1580. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
See you soon.